Hello, welcome to the How to Hero YouTube channel, where my name is Sean and I'm here to help you awaken the hero within you. There's a hero within all of us. I wanted to say thank you to everybody who came by the live stream the other day. It was really good. I had a lot of people turn out, more than I anticipated, and kind of helped share that with me. So if you haven't seen it, I think it has a lot of timeless sort of information in it, so it's probably worth watching. You know, a lot of it was about sort of my story and coming into my naming. So I represent a star team known as Ka, and what we're here to do is help enable other Wayshowers, other star seeds, find their purpose and sort of find the hero within. But we're not solely aimed at star seeds. So, you know, as Wayshowers, we're here to show the way for all. And that doesn't mean that what any of us are doing is the particular way that other people should do things. The thing about being a Wayshower is about being unique to yourself, about expressing yourself and your truth in the way that resonates with your soul, in alignment with your higher guidance, in alignment with your purpose and the reason that you're here. So I just try to help people find that for them. And so today what I wanted to do is, whether it's good or not, I've sort of been given this gift of being able to put my finger on the pulse of the collective and feel everything. And you know, I've always sort of had this, but I didn't understand that that's what was happening. So the last 2 days, I've been more or less just in bed, just sort of resting, because like I felt overwhelmed with all the feeling. And it wasn't my feeling. And it took me a minute to like get past it. Like, what is wrong with me? Like, I was up and up and up, and then now I'm just down. And it took me quite a few minutes really to sit with it and be like, oh, I get it. Okay, this isn't actually mine. This is the collective's. And I had to process it. It took me 2 days really of sitting with it to try and understand what this meant. And really what I think it is the collective is going through massive truth right now. So interpersonal truth is really showing its teeth. And so what that means, it means different things for everyone, right? So it's hard for me to, because this is a collective energy reading, it's hard for me to get very specific, because everyone's in different scenarios, different situations. So I'm trying to keep it quite generic, quite general for everyone, so that we can move forward together. The first thing that my guides are screaming at me to say, not to forget, is that you're not alone in this. So they're with you, your guides are with you, guiding you through this. Even if you can't hear them, they're telling me that, you know, they're giving you messages and you are sort of hearing them, but a lot of times you just dismiss the messaging, and because it's subtle, you almost feel like it's not what it is. It's not divinity, but that's often the case. And one of the big things is, like, one of the big messages is that we can be pushed by guidance. We can feel driven to these things that are not good for us, right? The reason that we get driven into things that are not good for us is so that we can see that those things are not good for us, whether it's things or people or situations, especially things right now, problems we've made already, right? Like things we already know not to be good for us, but we're like, well, we'll try again. You know, let's just try again. See if we've given it some time, maybe things are different this time. But no, things are not different this time. And we're starting to see that. We're starting to see that, no, actually each time it's the same. And I'm foolish for trying this again. And it's important to take that pressure off yourself. You're not foolish. You were led to this opportunity to try this thing again for a reason. Now, with your free will, you could have elected no, I know that that's going to be the same, and I'm not going to do that. But the opportunity was presented in case you wanted to revisit that. The universe aligns all these opportunities to you, these quantum potentials, right? You can think of it as different pathways energetically. They bubble up to the surface and kind of press against your auric field, your energy field. And then it's up to you to let that in or to say, no, that's not for me. And that's really what it's about. It's non-judgment. That's not for me. It may be for someone else, but it's not for me. And it gives you the opportunity to say no. And that's how these karmic lessons represent themselves to you. They bubble up as an opportunity, and then they give you the chance to say, that's not for me, or to say, no, let's try that again. Let's, I didn't have enough pain last time. Let's do that all over again, please. Thank you so much. And that's sort of how we do it. And it sounds silly. I'm trying to put it in a light spin because it can feel like we can't do anything right. It feels like no matter what way we turn, we're just presented with this shit. Pardon my French. But especially too when we can look down that direction, it looks like a clear path this time. Like, oh, this time it looks clear. Okay, let's go. And then we realize, oh wait, we are ignoring some of the previous lessons we already learned. And often, almost always, these lessons have to do with some sort of external validation. Excuse me. They have to do with giving another our power and then expecting them to give us back more power or give us back the power. We show love, expect love in return. When the love that we expect has to come from within first. We can't experience love until we hold love frequency. Does that make sense? It's the law of attraction at work. And that's why these things bubble up, because we are ruminating on these potentials. So whether consciously or subconsciously, we haven't fully integrated the lesson of these things that we've already known to be bad for us. And so we keep pulling them to us, right? We keep ruminating on them a little bit, consciously or subconsciously, and putting them in our vortexes or just outside of our vortex. Abraham Hicks would say it's in vibrational escrow or manifestation escrow, where it's waiting for us and it starts to rap on the door and go, hey, I'm ready for you. Are you ready for me? Yeah? Okay. And then that experience comes in. And that happens with positive experiences, it happens with negative experiences, and it happens with more neutral experiences. And part of the key is to recognize that all of these experiences on this spectrum are all actually neutral, and are all positioned in order to perpetuate your soul's growth. None of these things happen for no reason. The reason can be so elusive to us because as humans, we rationalize everything, right? We get into our mind body and we start to think, well, this happened because of this. And we start to think about this person said this because what they really mean is this and this. And they probably had this happen to them, which caused them to feel this way and then say this to me. But really what they want is, and we start to like drive ourselves insane, really, over all these different potentials, right? Whether we vocalize this to the person or not, whether we say anything or not, we are driving ourselves nuts over these things. And we're tying ourselves up in all this energy, and we're not allowing ourselves to be present. And that's the trick, right? It's a trick of the mind to reassert control, because the mind, the ego, you could call it, feels you're pulling away from it, and it wants to reassert dominance, reassert control, because you've woken up to it and you've started to see the illusion of the ego. And so part of it is just that. And then part of it is like redoing karmic lessons. And then part of it is these ties that you have to karmic relationships that aren't good for you or are not serving your highest good. They can feel like you can't pull away yet, right? And often that's because that there's still lessons there for you. And if you were to pull away now, those lessons would sort of dissolve. And so you'll feel drawn, right? You may leave your significant other and then start to understand, oh, they're just pulling me back. Like I miss them. I really want to go back. And it feels like a genuine space. It feels like it's from the heart. It feels like I should go back. And that can be your spirit team saying, there's still stuff there that you're not looking at, that there's still lessons there. And our goal, speaking from the spirit guide's point of view and your highest self, your original self, you in the future that's operating this avatar, this vessel in this game, because that's what this is. This is a big game. It's a simulation of free will. When the Earth experiment was designed, it was designed because everyone thought, hey, wouldn't it be bonkers? Wouldn't it be bonkers town if we made a world of free will, where everyone could really just do what they want, without understanding their divinity, and then we could experience so much could experience, and we could polarize souls much faster, and we could really advance. And that's where this came from. And that's the world of the duality and the darkness versus the light, and seeing, then eventually seeing past that and seeing the unification of both and how both are one. But that's a perspective. It's a big shift. It's a big shift. And to get there, we need to experience lots of darkness. And everyone has, it's all relative, right? So everyone has difficulties in their lives. It's important we don't compare our difficulties to others, because the difficulties are relative to our experience. So we can talk about people starving in different countries and talk about how their experience is so much worse than ours, like than mine. Objectively, we could say that, I've had a very cushy life. But the depths of pain that I've felt in my life can be very comparable to other people's pain that are going through much worse, objectively, things. And it's all meant to catalyze growth, soul growth. And so I'm not saying that my life is as hard as those. That's not at all what I'm saying. In fact, I know very well my life is not anywhere near that difficult. Now, I've had incarnations where my life was objectively very difficult. And I've been able to remember those. And that's part of it too, is to dive into, because it all sits in your energy systems for clearing. And so that's part of it too. As we start to step into 5D, we start to feel that too, and feel it more accurately. And so the energy right now at the collective is all about forgiveness. It's all about forgiveness. And it's always about forgiveness. That's kind of the trick. But right now it's like a strong reminder just that I got to get out there. Like, forgiveness is the key. It's the key to every single thing. We hold ourselves in so much discontent and disharmony and turmoil because we blame ourselves, right? When someone mistreats us, it's so simple for us to go, what did I do to cause this? Why did I cause this for them? Why did I cause them to behave this way? That happens for two reasons. One, we don't want to blame them because we love them. That's one reason. Another reason is that we know innately that we are the creators of our universe, so that we take responsibility for all that happens. So we know intuitively that there is action that we took that caused this to occur, whether it's energetic, putting out energy of some kind, or requesting energy of some kind, right? Like, we caused this occurrence, we planned this occurrence, right? So there's responsibility we have to take there. We have to forgive ourselves for whatever that is, and trying to see where that came from. That's how we can find the forgiveness, because we can say, oh, I see, I was putting out all this desperate energy. I was being desperate and needy and codependent, and that's why they just disappeared, because they couldn't handle that. I was being intense. I was being very, very intense, right? Too intense, and they weren't ready for that. And so they pulled away. And what we need to do is understand that, of course they did. Of course they did, because you were in a state of pure desperation and lack mentality, of non-deserving mentality. And when you don't deserve someone, they'll feel that. And they may not think of it like, this person doesn't deserve me. I think I've talked about this before, actually. But they're not going to think of it like, oh, this person doesn't deserve me. They're just going to feel blocks, right? And we manifest these blocks. And so we can get mad at them for I guess, ghosting, or for dismissing us and not showing us the love that we thought we were showing them. But we weren't showing them love, right? We were showing them lack of love. We were showing them the opposite. We were showing them lack of power. And when we start to see that, we're like, no wonder, right? No wonder they didn't like that. No wonder, like, think about, I don't know if you've ever had, if you're a guy and you've ever had a girlfriend that constantly grabs at your hand to hold it when it's not natural, right? Like it's, it's almost a show. She'll do it too. And guys do this too. So I'm only speaking like this because I'm a man, a straight man. And I've had girlfriends do this. When they see another girl who they feel threatened by in some fashion, in their own headspace, they'll grab your hand to be like, he's mine. Like it's a possessive type thing. And definitely guys do this too. But it feels gross, right? Like you're like, like you know what's happening. You don't know necessarily why it feels gross. Although I did when I was younger, very in tune. But if you're not as in tune, you'll just be like, ugh, like let go of me. Like the energy feels weird because it's this lack energy. It's like, it's this possessive energy. You're like, no, I'm not yours. I'm mine. I'm no one's but mine. Get off me, right? And it's like that. It's like that, but energetically and through your emotions and your emotional body. And I just give this example because it's an easy one to use. Not that everyone's going through that type of thing, but what we do is we draw these experiences in, and they can be positive and negative about seeing the truth. And when we see the truth, we can be like, oh, okay, so I've actually been being a bit of a jerk here. Or even though I've been, or like, let's say you're in the middle of leaving a spouse, or like you're leaving a loved one, you're cutting some sort of tie, you're cutting off a friendship, like it can feel like you're being selfish. And what I think we're seeing now is some of the truths coming out like, oh, okay, like I actually did a lot wrong here to cause a lot of this behavior, right? Like I need to take responsibility for my side of it. That doesn't mean I need to jump back into this relationship. It doesn't mean I need to reach out and apologize to them. But I do need to forgive myself for that involvement. I need to forgive myself for that behavior. It doesn't matter if they forgive you for it. They may not even be aware of what you've done to sort of facilitate their behavior. And it may be helpful to talk to them about it, but it may not. And only you can assess that. But typically, if you tell someone, I wronged you and I've forgiven myself for that, they're going to be like, good for you. That's so wonderful to hear for you. Like they don't, right? They're about themselves. They're stuck in their own stuff. And often, like unless you're talking to somebody that's sort of 5D, like they'll be like, oh, thank you so much. I've actually forgiven you as well. And myself for our involvement. Maybe we can start fresh. Because typically people in 5D have what I like to call, they demolish the bridge between two people, right? They obliterate it, right? But they don't walk away from the potential of a new bridge being built, because they understand people shift and change moment to moment, because they know that innately, that this person, although they were a very bad person for them now, it's totally possible for that person to shift and become a good component of their life. What they won't do, or what we shouldn't do, is sit and wait for that. Keep the bridge open and keep the line of communication there, just waiting for them. Because now we have this energetic tether to us where, whether we realize it or not, they're sending us all this stuff. Because we've left that conduit open, that cord it's called a lot of times, and you'll hear people talk about cutting cords. And that's what this is. It's about demolishing that bridge, turning it into this chasm. But if we're being honest with ourselves, and if we're being respectful of the other, then we'll also understand that that person can change, and that if we're being compassionate, then we may have space for them later, right? We don't push away potentials and possibilities. We don't put judgment onto future potentials that we don't fully understand. We also don't sit and ruminate on it, so we don't worry about it. We let that relationship sever naturally, or we'll sever it purposefully, and then we'll just let things go, let it go, surrender to it. surrender to that, you know, that misery that comes with it too, and then forgive yourself and just move on, move forward. And you know, sometimes we need to take a few days and relax and, you know, kind of treat ourselves a little bit, pamper ourselves a bit, especially in this Leo energy. I think it feels good to, you know, take care of yourself. And all you Leos out there, happy birthday. You know, my heart to yours. I hope you guys are all flourishing. And, you know, right now, probably everybody's wanting a piece of you. You're probably bright, shining, and everyone wants a piece of your world. So make sure you protect your energy and just, you know, let people in as it feels right. Because you know, you'll start to feel drained. I'm sure you know this, but, you know, you'll feel drained. And you know, I can feel a lot of Leo energy really strong. I've had a lot of Leos reaching out to me for some support because despite that brave face, they're going through a lot right now, I think, collectively. So it's been really interesting that during Leo's up time, I've seen an uptick in Leos asking for some guidance from me. You know, Leo's the strong, can be the strong silent type, right? But it's really it makes me really happy to know that even the strong silent types find some sort of comfort in, I guess, my demeanor and my acceptance of them. So I just wanted to thank the Leos that have reached out and needed some support and have been really open with me. A few people in particular, and they'll know who they are. So I lost track of what I was saying. Oh, okay, so the energy is all about truth. It's all about exposing your truth, sitting with it, starting to really understand it, starting to see where the repeated patterns have been made, so that we can step into our new us, right? The new you that doesn't make those sort of mistakes, that same type of mistakes, the same type of mistakes. Or we see what is good for us and do more of that, right? It goes both ways. And so some of us will have a very nice time right now as we see all these beautiful opportunities and move into them. And that's sort of where I'm at. I'm having a very great time. Even though yesterday and the day before I was like bedridden, I still felt very at ease with myself. But I knew that energetically there was this like blanket over me. It felt like I couldn't really move, and I just laid in bed, and sometimes that's what we need. And I just knew myself, and I knew that I just needed to lay down and just rest, and I just sort of slept for a couple days. And you know, also the few days leading up, I was just downloads after downloads after downloads, and it really does drain you. And because I don't take care of my body properly, that's what leads to these crashes, I think. So I'm being really guided now to pay attention to my body and start to work on my diet and all these things that I've been putting off. I still smoke and stuff like that because it's like a vice, and it's just it calms me. And you know, it's a gross habit. I don't like it. I don't like the habit. I don't like the smell. There's a bunch of stuff I don't like about it. And even when I was put in the hospital, so I mentioned this I think briefly, but I was hospitalized for about 5 or 6 days in a mental health facility against my will. And you know, it was a beautiful experience because I got to meet all these amazing patients, and I think I was a light for them in a dark time. I think I was supposed to be there, especially for a couple individuals that I think I really shined some light for them on some things, and they may not have realized that that's what was happening, but I had some really deep conversations with a few people that were, I think, really needing it. And I feel like that's why I was there. I took the focus off, you know, what I wanted to be doing in the physical world, and I just kind of sat there and used that time to strengthen my spirituality and my power, my personal power. And so I wouldn't take that experience away. But it also freaked me out because of how much control psychiatrists have. People think I've lost my mind, people close to me. because in many ways I did, right? I totally shifted. The person that they're used to seeing is gone in many ways, and the priorities that that person had are gone. The language that person spoke is mostly gone. So, I can kind of understand why they are freaking out, right? Because they're like, what's happened to him? And I only say this because a lot of that repetitive karmic nonsense that's happening right now is you moving down your truth, and then all these other people going, hey, here's why you can't do that. Here, have you thought about this? Because this is why you can't do that. And we're kind of listening to them a bit, I think, in some ways, and it's causing us all this discomfort, and we start to distrust ourselves because we trust this other person. But this other person has no idea what's going on with you. I like to think of these as tests of your vigor, right? Tests of your steadfastness, right? Like when someone comes to you and says, this path you're going down is wrong, you just say, no, thank you, that's not for me. And just keep going. When someone brings negativity into something that you know is positive, just say, no, thank you. You don't have to listen to that. And I recommend you don't even hear it. You just say, oh, okay, thank you so much, goodbye, right? Like, thank you for that. Your angels, your guides, your spirits will never try to dissuade you from something using fear. Never. They never want you fearful. Fear is the lowest vibratory rate of your body that you can have. They do not work that way. And when other people talk to you, right, if they're coming at you from a place of fear or shame or guilt, or trying to pull you into fear or shame or guilt, this is negative energetic attachment on their system that's trying to pull you into. Think of it like a parasite. I'm not going to go into dark entities really, but that's more or less what this is. There's different perspectives on how you can look at this. If we look at it from a scientific perspective, it's a negative energetic resonance, a vibratory resonance within the body, within the mental body, that's reaching out to pull more people into it so that there can be a commonality there, right? If we look at it from the spiritual perspective, it's a negative thought form, a negative entity with consciousness within it, whether it's an intelligent consciousness or more of a natural, instinctual based consciousness, but it attaches to itself, to you. And part of our duty as human beings is to take this negative entity and bring it into the light. That's what we do. We're alchemists. We transmute the dark into the light. And that's why the dark entities attach to us, so that we can transmute that darkness into light. And if you think about it, it makes sense, right? When we have a fearful feeling, then we see through that illusion, right? And we start to bring that energy into light and transmute that. And it goes away, right? It starts to become empowering in some ways, right? It's a big shift. And so I've been rambling a lot. I have no idea really what I said because it's kind of channeled through me. I don't prepare videos, but I hope this touched on some of the things that the collective's going through. I'm not sure how long the video is, but if you like the video, click that like button. It really helps with the channel. If you want to see more of the stuff I make, consider subscribing and hitting that bell. I'm going to be going live and doing more streams. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to get my second camera set up so that you can see card layouts. I'll be doing more readings, and I appreciate everyone who donates via the super chat in advance, because that helps with the channel. I'm also going to set up donation links, because I think I'm going to do most of my work through donation basis, just because it just feels right. And then I'm going to offer some products as well that I'm working on them. Those products are going to be pay what you want to receive, and that can be as little as $1 or something. So I'm really looking forward to having all this stuff come out. I'm really working on it, and I'm hoping that sort of my energy keeps me in this go state so that I can really get it out, because I feel like I have a lot in me to give and finally I'm feeling this pull to really give it. So if you have any questions about anything I've said, leave them below. I try to respond to all comments, at least like let them know I've seen it. So please, if you have any experience that you want to share, everyone loves to see like-minded souls. I promise you that when you start to share the stuff in the comments, people will start to respond to you and be like, yeah, me too, and stuff. So it's really nice to do that. So if you feel called, just share some of your experience if it resonates with what I've been saying and what you've been working on, because other people, when they see that, they're like, oh, okay, cool, I'm not alone. And that's the most important thing. You know, you're never alone. I'm with you. I'm in your heart with you. You're in my heart. So if that helps at all, I'm thinking of you, all of you. I love all of you. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much, and have an awesome day.